All right, let's talk about comparison and the comparison trap at work and why you should not watch your coworkers that closely because it's going to make you hurt psychologically. This is Bad Boss Guide, day 20. Let's say that someone in your department got the promotion that you wanted. Let's say that someone else gets praised in meetings while your contributions go unnoticed. Let's say that someone has a great relationship with your boss while you get nothing but criticism. If you are spending mental energy tracking how your coworkers are being treated compared to you, you are caught in the comparison trap. And under a bad boss, this trap will drive you absolutely insane. Today we're going to talk about why you need to stop watching your coworkers and focus on your own path. Comparison feels inevitable because, it's not a character flaw to compare yourself to your coworkers. We all do it, but your brain is actually wired to assess your position relative to others in your social group. It's an evolutionary survival mechanism. When humans lived in small tribes, knowing where you ranked meant knowing whether you had access to food and resources and security. So your brain is still running that ancient software. It's constantly scanning to see if you're being treated fairly compared to the people around you. The problem with this mechanism in the modern day is that it assumes you're operating in a fair system where better performance leads to better treatment. But you're not in a fair system. Welcome to the modern world in 2025. Welcome to work culture. If you're in America or if you're overseas, I'm speaking to primarily an American audience, but I think this advice is timeless and applicable everywhere if you have a bad boss. When you're working under a bad boss, it means the rules are inconsistent, the recognition is arbitrary, and the rewards often have nothing to do with actual merit. So when you see your coworkers getting treated better than you, your brain tries to figure out what they're doing right and what you're doing wrong. But often there is no logical answer because your boss's behavior isn't based on logic. Maybe your coworker just reminds your boss of themselves. In my case, I had a coworker where they had I'm hesitant to tell you guys, but you know how this works in the workplace. I had a boss that had someone working for them that reminded him of his daughter. And so he gave her special treatment. And he didn't have any sons, but when I showed up, he didn't treat me with the same fairness and respect as he gave my other coworker. And so it was very weird, and I couldn't figure out why I was getting treated a certain way and this coworker was getting treated better. But after some years, I figured out that it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with a boss that has a flawed system of giving out praise and recognition. It's good and bad because in some ways it motivated me to work extra hard, which was good for me, as I've said in a previous video on this series. But let's focus on today. Maybe your boss is in a better mood when they interact. Maybe they both share a hobby. Maybe you're searching for a pattern that doesn't exist. When you do comparison, there's damage that occurs. Constantly comparing yourself to your coworkers actually costs you. First, it is exhausting. You're running a background process in your mind at all times, tracking who got what, who was praised, who was criticized, and you're trying to calculate what it all means and how it affects your standing. That mental energy could be going towards actual work or honestly towards anything that serves you better. In my case, I found that it's way better to spend time with my wife and child before work and then going to work, not giving them my mental energy in that way. And then when I come home, dedicating my mental energy towards cleaning the house, making my space more livable and enjoyable to be around, and then kissing my wife and kids and making sure that they're happy above all else. So that was just my version of expending my mental energy away from work and towards the things that truly matter. And of course, those people love me way more than anyone at work. People at work don't love you. They have to be there, and they go home to their families. So it's just better to dedicate your mental energy where it belongs. Essentially, you're giving your coworkers free rent in your head. Comparison breeds resentment. You start disliking people who might otherwise be your allies or casual friends, not because they've done anything to you, but because they're getting something that you are not. You might even catch yourself hoping that they will fail or feeling a little bit of satisfaction when they get criticized. That's not who you want to be. But the comparison trap pushes you there. It poisons your relationships with the few people that might actually understand what you're going through. There's another sneaky one, that comparison keeps you focused on the wrong game. You're trying to figure out how to win a bad boss's approval by studying what favored coworkers are doing. But you're not winning because of something you can replicate. You're winning because of factors outside of your control. So you're reverse engineering a strategy from a situation that has no strategy. Meanwhile, you could be using that same focus to build skills, to network outside of your department, or to plan your exit. So what do you do instead? You shift from comparison to self-reference. This means only measure yourself against your own previous performance and your own goals. Did you do better this month than last month? Are you learning and growing? Are you moving towards the career that you actually want? These are the only questions that matter. What Sarah or Tom or Jessica is getting from your bad boss is completely irrelevant to your path. This is all harder than it sounds because you'll need to actively catch yourself making comparisons and redirect your attention. The moment that you notice you're tracking how someone else is being treated, you need to bring your focus back to your own trajectory. Ask yourself, does this comparison help me in any way? Does knowing that someone else got praised change what I need to do? Usually the answer is no. It's just information that makes you feel bad without offering any actionable insight. You also need to redefine what success looks like for you in this environment. If success means getting your bad boss's approval, you're always going to be looking at your coworkers to see who's figured out the formula. But if success means surviving this situation with your skills and your sanity intact, then your coworkers become irrelevant. You're playing a different game entirely. You're focused on what you can control, which is your own professional development and your strategy for what comes next. There is freedom in detachment. When you stop comparing yourselves to your coworkers, you start seeing them more clearly as actual people rather than as competition or mirrors for your own self-worth. Sometimes you even find allies. There's, the coworker who seems to have it easier might be dealing with their own version of hell that you can't see. The person who gets praised might be miserable for other reasons. When you're not constantly measuring yourself against them, you can have real conversations and perhaps even find mutual support. Bad bosses often try to create competition among their employees. It keeps everyone focused on each other instead of recognizing that the boss is the problem. When you refuse to play that game and stay focused on your own path, you are not giving your bad boss that power. You're essentially opting out of a rigged competition where the only real winner is the person who's keeping everyone else divided. Your coworkers' experiences with your bad boss tell you absolutely nothing about your value or your future. They are running their own race with different variables that you can't see and that you can't control. The only race that matters is the one that you're running with yourself. Are you better than you were 6 months ago? Are you building towards something that serves your actual goals? That should be your scoreboard. Everything else is just noise. Let them have their wins and losses without making it mean something about you. Your path is your own, and the sooner you commit to your path, the sooner you get your power back.